when they say the annual prayer, blessing each person by name, a ritual as old as you can remember. But this time they skip you, like you're not even there, and the silence that follows is deafening until your 8-year-old son stands up, his voice trembling but fierce. "You forgot my mom. I'm Clara Bennett." And this is how that moment shattered the facade of my family, exposing years of quiet exclusion, and set me on a path to reclaim my place, not just at the table, but in my own life. I'm 36, seated at the Easter dinner table in my parents' dining room in Savannah, Georgia, surrounded by my family. My parents, Margaret and Daniel, my older sister Elise, her husband Tom, their 2 teenagers, my younger brother Nathan, and my son Owen. The table is a vision of tradition, my grandmother's china with its delicate floral pattern, a centerpiece of white lilies, the roasted lamb my mother spent all morning preparing, its savory aroma mingling with the sweetness of honey-glazed carrots. Every year, my father leads the Easter prayer, a ritual where he names each of us, asking for blessings in the coming year. A moment I've always cherished, a thread tying us together through the years, even when tensions simmered beneath the surface, unspoken but ever present. My father stands at the head of the table, his gray hair catching the light from the chandelier, his voice steady, his hands clasped in reverence. "Lord, we thank you for this day. Bless my wife Margaret for her love and care. Bless Elise, Tom, and their children for their strength and unity. Bless Nathan for his new journey in Atlanta." He pauses and I wait, my heart steady, expecting my name next. The familiar rhythm of the prayer, a comfort I've clung to since childhood. But he doesn't say it. He moves on, blessing the food, the day, the resurrection, his voice unwavering as if nothing is amiss. The prayer ends, and the room falls silent for a heartbeat before everyone murmurs, "Amen." I sit there, frozen, my hands in my lap, the omission a punch to the gut, a sharp ache that steals my breath. I glance around. No one meets my eyes. Elise adjusts her napkin with a practiced flick. Nathan shifts uncomfortably in his seat. My mother busies herself with the gravy boat, her movements too quick, too forced. They all heard it. They all know. But no one says a thing. The silence a heavy shroud over the table. Then Owen, my 8-year-old, stands up, his chair scraping against the hardwood floor with a jarring screech, his small frame trembling with a mix of fear and defiance, his blonde curls catching the light. "You forgot my mom," he says, his voice loud in the quiet room, his blue eyes blazing as he looks at my father, his small hands clenched at his sides. "You didn't say her name. You always say everyone's name, but you forgot my mom." The room stills, every eye on him, then on me, the air thick with tension, the weight of his words a spark in the darkness of my hurt. My father's face flushes, a deep red creeping up his neck. My mother's hand flies to her mouth. Elise's teenagers exchange wide-eyed glances, their forks suspended mid-air. I feel the weight of their stares, the years of being overlooked crashing over me like a tidal wave. But Owen's words light a fire in my chest. A fire I didn't know I had. A fire that burns with the fierce love of a child who sees what others refuse to acknowledge. I've always been the middle child, the quiet one, the one who didn't demand attention, the one who faded into the background of our family's story. Elise was the golden girl, cheerleader, valedictorian, now a lawyer with a perfect family. Her life a polished portrait of success. Nathan was the baby, charming and reckless, always forgiven no matter what he did. His mistakes met with laughter instead of lectures. I was the steady one, the one who helped with homework, who planned the family events, who never made a fuss, even when I had every reason to. I married young, at 22, to James, Owen's father. But he left when Owen was 2, chasing a new life in California with someone else, leaving me to pick up the pieces alone. I've been raising Owen ever since, working as a librarian at the local library, piecing together a life that's stable if not glamorous, always putting my family first, even when they didn't seem to notice, even when their indifference carved a hollow space inside me. But the omissions started long before this Easter. Small slights that built up over the years like layers of sediment, heavy and unyielding. I remember family photos where I was pushed to the back, my face half hidden behind Elise's shoulder. Vacations where my parents forgot to book my ticket until the last minute, leaving me to scramble for a seat. Birthdays where my gifts were afterthoughts. A scarf, a generic card, while Elise got jewelry and Nathan got concert tickets to his favorite band. I told myself it wasn't intentional, that I was too sensitive, that I should be grateful for what I had, that I shouldn't rock the boat in a family that seemed to function best when I stayed quiet. But Owen's words at the table ripped that illusion apart, tearing through the excuses I've made for years, exposing the raw truth of my place in this family, or lack thereof. As everyone stares, my father clears his throat, his voice tight, his eyes avoiding mine. I didn't mean to, Clara. Sit down, Owen. Let's eat. But Owen doesn't sit. He looks at me, his eyes searching, waiting for me to say something, to stand up for myself the way he did for me, his small act of bravery a mirror I can't ignore. I push my chair back, the legs scraping against the floor, my voice shaking but clear, each word a step out of the shadows I've lived in for too long. No, Owen's right. You skipped me, Dad, and it's not the first time. I'm tired of pretending it doesn't hurt, tired of being invisible in my own family. My mother gasps, her hand trembling as she sets down the gravy boat. Elise starts to speak, her voice sharp, but I'm already moving, taking Owen's hand, his fingers warm and steady in mine, leading him out of the dining room, my heart pounding as I grab our coats from the rack by the door. We leave, the sound of their voices fading behind us. My father's stammered apology, Elise's indignant protest, my mother's soft plea, the front door closing with a finality that echoes in my chest, a door I've been afraid to shut until now. We drive home in silence, Owen clutching my hand from the back seat, his small fingers warm against mine, a lifeline in the storm of my emotions. The streets of Savannah are quiet, the spring evening casting long shadows across the road, the live oaks draped in Spanish moss swaying gently in the breeze. When we get to our small apartment, I tuck Owen into bed, his Spider-Man pajamas a bright spot in the dim light of his room, his eyes heavy but still searching, his voice small as he looks up at me. "Did I do something wrong, Mom?" he asks, his brow furrowed with worry, his innocence a sharp contrast to the weight of the night. I kiss his forehead, tears welling in my eyes, my voice soft but firm. "No, baby. You did everything right. You stood up for me, and I'm so proud of you." He smiles, a small, sleepy grin, drifting off with the trust only a child can have. But I can't sleep. I sit on the couch in our living room, a cup of chamomile tea growing cold in my hands, the steam rising in faint wisps as I replay the night, the years, the countless times I let myself be overlooked, the weight of it all pressing down on me like a physical force. The next morning, my phone buzzes with messages, each one a jab at the wound I'm still tending. My mother, "Clara, we need to talk. You overreacted last night." Elise, "You embarrassed Dad in front of everyone. Owen shouldn't have said that. It's not his place." Nathan, "Come on, Clara, it was a mistake. Don't make this a thing." Their words sting, each one a reminder of how little they've seen me, how quick they are to dismiss my pain, but they also fuel my resolve. A quiet fire that refuses to be snuffed out this time. I don't respond. Instead, I take Owen to the park, watching him play on the swings, his laughter a bright melody against the backdrop of my thoughts, his joy a reminder of what matters most. I realize I've been teaching him to be brave, to speak up, to stand for what's right, but I haven't been living that lesson myself. Always shrinking. Always apologizing for existing. That changes now, I tell myself. The decision of vow I make to both of us. Over the next few days, I dig into my past, pulling out old photo albums from a box in my closet. Their pages yellowed with age, journals I kept as a teenager. Anything that might help me understand why I've always felt like an afterthought, why my family's love has always felt conditional. I find a pattern, moments where I was excluded, dismissed, ignored, not out of malice, but out of habit. A slow erosion of my presence that I'd allowed to happen. My family had cast me in a role, the quiet, reliable, invisible middle child. And I'd played it, shrinking myself to fit their narrative, afraid to demand more, afraid to disrupt the fragile balance of our family. But Owen's words at Easter broke that script, shattering the illusion I'd clung to. And I can't go back to being the invisible daughter, the overlooked sister, the silent mother, not when my son sees me so clearly, not when he's shown me what it means to be seen. A week later, my mother invites me to lunch, her voice tentative on the phone, a crack in the facade of certainty she usually wears. "We need to clear the air, Clara," she says, and I can hear the strain in her words, the weight of the unspoken. I agree, but I bring Owen, needing his strength as much as he needs mine, needing him to witness the conversation, to know that I'm fighting for us both. We meet at a cafe downtown, the air crisp with the scent of spring, the patio lined with blooming azaleas, their vibrant pinks and purples a stark contrast to the tension between us. My mother is alone, her hands fidgeting with her napkin as we sit, her graying hair pulled back in a neat bun, her eyes darting between me and Owen, who plays with his toy car on the table, glancing between us, sensing the undercurrent of unease. "I'm sorry your father skipped you in the prayer," she begins, her voice soft, her hands stilling for a moment as she meets my gaze. "It was an honest mistake, Clara. We didn't mean to hurt you." I shake my head, my voice steady despite the lump in my throat, the years of hurt rising to the surface like a tide I can't hold back. "It wasn't a mistake, Mom. It's a pattern. I've been invisible in this family my whole life, and I'm done accepting it, done pretending it doesn't matter." She looks shocked, her eyes filling with tears, her composure cracking as I keep going, recounting the years of slights, the forgotten tickets for family trips, the back row photos where I'm barely visible, the way they never ask about my life, my dreams, my struggles, the way I've poured myself into this family only to be met with indifference. I'm a single mom, raising Owen on my own, working long hours at the library, making sure he has everything he needs. And you've never once asked how I'm doing. Not really. But Owen saw it. He stood up for me when none of you did, when none of you even noticed. My mother tries to interrupt, her voice trembling, but Owen cuts in, his small voice firm, his toy car still in his hand as he looks at her with the unyielding honesty of a child. "Grandma, you have to say sorry to my mom. You hurt her feelings, and that's not nice." Her face crumples, tears spilling over as she reaches for my hand across the table, her grip tight, her voice breaking with a rawness I've never heard from her before. "I didn't realize, Clara. I swear I didn't see it. We love you, but maybe we took you for granted. Maybe we've always taken you for granted." It's the first real apology I've ever gotten from her, and it cracks something open inside me. Grief for the years I've lost, relief that I'm finally being heard, a flicker of hope that things can be different. But I know one apology isn't enough. Know that words alone can't mend what's been broken. I need to see change, not just hear it. Need to know that this moment isn't just a fleeting acknowledgement before we slip back into old patterns. The lunch with my mother is a start, a fragile bridge between the past and the future. But I know I can't go back to the way things were. Can't let myself be pulled back into the role I've outgrown. I set boundaries, telling my family I won't attend gatherings unless they show they value me. Not just with words, but with actions, with a genuine effort to see me as more than the quiet middle child they've always overlooked. I focus on Owen, on myself, on building a life where we're seen, where our voices matter. I start painting again, a passion I'd abandoned after James left, setting up an easel in our living room, the scent of acrylics filling the air as I lose myself in color and light. Owen beside me with his crayons, his small drawings of superheroes a mirror to my own creations. Our evenings filled with creativity and laughter, a quiet healing in the shared space we've carved out for ourselves. I join a local art group, meeting other women who felt invisible in their own ways. Divorcees, single moms, artists who've been told their dreams don't matter. Their stories a mirror to mine. Their support a lifeline as I navigate this new chapter. We meet weekly at a community center, our canvases lined up against the walls, our conversations a tapestry of shared pain and resilience. A reminder that I'm not alone, that my worth isn't tied to my family's perception of me. Elise reaches out a month later, asking to meet. Her voice softer than I've ever heard it, a crack in the armor of perfection she's always worn. We sit in her pristine kitchen, her teenagers at school, the house quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator, the scent of her morning coffee lingering in the air. She's defensive at first, saying I overreacted at Easter, that I should have handled it privately, but I hold my ground, recounting how her achievements always overshadowed mine, how I felt like I was never enough in her shadow, how her success became a yardstick I could never measure up to. Her face softens, her green eyes filling with a vulnerability I didn't expect, and she admits she envied my independence, my ability to raise Owen alone, to build a life without the safety net she's always had. I didn't see how much you were hurting, Clara, she says, her voice low, her hands wrapped around her coffee mug. I'll do better, I promise. Nathan is harder. He brushes off my feelings, saying I'm too sensitive, that I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, but I don't back down, telling him I'm done being the family doormat, done accepting scraps of attention while he and Elise get the spotlight. He doesn't apologize, but he starts calling more, asking about Owen, about my day, a small step I hold on to, a flicker of hope that he might come around in time. A year later, Easter comes again, and I host it at my apartment. A deliberate choice to set the tone on my terms, to create a space where Owen and I are the center, not the afterthought. The table is smaller, the food simpler. Ham, mashed potatoes, green beans, a chocolate cake Owen helped me bake, his small hands covered in frosting as he laughed. But the warmth is real, a warmth that comes from intention, not obligation. Owen helps me set the table, his chatter filling the space, his pride in me a quiet glow in my chest as he carefully places each napkin, his small hands precise and eager. My parents, Elise and her family come. Nathan sends his regrets, still struggling to fully face his role in my pain, still grappling with the guilt I can hear in his voice when we speak, but I'm okay with that. I've learned I can't force change. I can only control how I respond, only control the space I create for myself and my son. My father stands to say the prayer, his voice softer this time, his eyes meeting mine with a sincerity I haven't seen in years, a weight in his gaze that speaks of lessons learned. Lord, we thank you for this day. Bless Margaret for her love and steadfast heart. Bless Elise, Tom, and their children for their growth and resilience. Bless Clara for her strength and courage, and Owen for his fierce heart and unwavering love. My name, spoken clearly, feels like a balm, a small victory, but a real one. a moment of acknowledgement that resonates deep within me, healing a wound I've carried for too long. Owen squeezes my hand under the table, his smile wide, his eyes bright with pride. And I know we've carved out a new space for ourselves, one where we're seen, heard, valued, one where the love we give is returned in kind, not taken for granted. The Easter prayer was a turning point, a moment that shifted the foundation of my family. But the real change comes in the months that follow. A slow but steady transformation that grows from the seeds Owen planted with his brave words. My paintings gain attention at a local gallery in Savannah. One piece, a vibrant abstract of a woman stepping into light, her silhouette bold against a backdrop of swirling blues and golds, selling for enough to cover a month's rent. The buyer, a collector who sees the emotion in my work, who sees me in a way my family never did. I start teaching art classes for kids at the community center. Owen helping me set up, his laughter mingling with theirs as we mix paints and share stories. Our bond a foundation nothing can shake, a partnership that's grown stronger through every challenge we've faced. My family continues to evolve, their efforts small but meaningful, a testament to the work we've all put in to rebuild what was broken. My mother calls weekly, asking about my life, my art, my dreams, her questions genuine, her voice warm with a care I've longed for. My father sends a card on my birthday, the first in years, his handwriting shaky but sincere, a note inside that simply says, "I'm proud of you, Clara." Elise invites me to her book club, introducing me to her friends as my sister, the artist, her pride a quiet apology for the years she overlooked me, a bridge we're building one conversation at a time. Nathan is slower to change, his calls sporadic, his apologies still unspoken, but he sends Owen a small Lego set for his birthday, a gesture I recognize as his way of reaching out, a step I meet with patience, knowing healing takes time, knowing I've already found my own peace. I think back to that Easter, the moment Owen stood up for me, the moment I found my voice, the moment I realized I'd been teaching him to be brave while forgetting to be brave myself. It wasn't just about being skipped in a prayer. It was about years of being erased, of shrinking myself to fit a role I never chose, of believing I had to earn a love that should have been mine by right. But Owen's words, his fierce love, reminded me of my worth, gave me the courage to demand more. Not just from my family, but from myself, to step into the light I'd painted in my art, to claim the space I'd always deserved. I'm no longer the invisible daughter, the overlooked sister, the silent mother. I'm Clara Bennett, a woman who's learned to take up space, to paint her own story in bold, unapologetic strokes, to build a life where she's seen, and where she sees herself, fully for the first time, a life where love is a mirror, reflecting back the strength I've always had, the strength Owen saw in me when I couldn't see it in myself.